This is 105.5 FM, 1320 AM, cable TV channel 25, and worldwide at country.am. And we are starting early today.
All right.
2 whole minutes early.
2 minutes.
That means that
Al got tired of us going over, didn't he?
that we're going to get him started 2 minutes earlier than his normal 10 minutes late.
There you go.
Yeah, because sometimes on Fridays we run a little long, and Odd keeps us in his prayer every week, I believe.
Praying that we'll be quiet and quit talking.
Yeah, he said he tuned in last week and heard us talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's the sheriff on this fine Friday?
Doing well.
I still want to say Monday.
I know, we kind of got used to doing the Mondays, didn't we?
We got used to Monday, and I'm probably going to slip up and say Monday again, but it's a Friday. And
that'll be all right. I'll forgive you.
All right. Thank you for forgiveness there. And how's the sheriff today?
Doing well, and just want to wish everybody a Decoration Day or Memorial Day or however you recognize it this weekend. But it is Memorial Day weekend, and it's Memorial Day is always observed on the last Monday of May. And it honors men and women who died while serving in the military. And it's also, a lot of churches take it as their decoration day and decorate the grave sites and those type of things. I know that my wife was out getting flowers and stuff this weekend and doing the headstone markers and all those kind of things for our loved ones and putting all those on the grave sites. So I know a lot of people's doing that. They'll spend this weekend doing that. But Decoration Day and Memorial Day originated following the Civil War and became an official federal holiday in 1971. And so, it's been around for a while, and people observed that for a while. And so we just hope that everybody's safe this weekend. A lot of people camp over Memorial Day and try to get outdoors and do a lot of those things out there. And we won't talk about all the little critters out there that can slither and bite you and all those kind of things. But just be careful out there. And I know a lot of people, it's warming up, so they want to get to the lakes and, do water sports and all those kind of things. And just remember that to be safe while you're out there.
I think I'm going to put my phone on this stack of napkins here so it doesn't create an earthquake sound effect every time it goes off.
I was thinking earlier, you probably could solve a lot of problems if you had like one of those rubber mats on your desk, that would absorb the sound.
Would be smart.
Yeah.
That would be very smart.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. That's free of charge, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We have these microphones here that are super sensitive that pick up everything. You can even touch the microphone and you can hear it on the radio, and Derek and I both have this habit of slapping the microphone because we talk with our hands.
I do. I talk with my hands very, very much so.
I do the same thing, and I have to I intentionally hold my hands together during the show so I don't do that.
Right.
But, it is, and a lot of people confuse Memorial Day with Veterans Day, and I used to be one of those people, but the Memorial Day is to remember the fallen, the dead.
The ones who have died.
And Veterans Day, which comes later in the year, is to honor all the ones in service, correct?
Right, that is correct. And we've got a few things going on I want to mention before we go on with the radio show today. And one is that, remember that tomorrow is when they're doing the 22-mile walk, Veterans Walk tomorrow. It starts in Andrews and walks to Murphy. I think their registration's around 7:30, I think, tomorrow.
7:30 at the rest stop in Andrews.
Right, and then they'll be heading out from there and be walking to Murphy. And everyone's invited to walk. You don't have to be in the military to walk with them tomorrow. And you don't have to walk the whole thing. So if there's a section of it or part of it you'd like to walk, just to show your support, then they invite people to come on out and register for that and walk tomorrow. So just want to make sure everybody comes out and does that. And also, while we're talking about Veterans Day or the Veterans Walk and Memorial's Day, Roger Swanson down at the Band of Brothers Veterans Park down on Pleasant Valley, we helped him get his the crosses out yesterday.
Oh, great!
And putting them out down there in the park. And what the crosses are for, it's got one cross for every veteran from Cherokee County that died in combat from World War I all the way through the present time. So if you have a loved one that's from Cherokee County that was killed in war, there'll be a cross down there with their name on it. And we always, working with Roger, likes to invite people to come in there and take part of that. That park is open all the time, by the way.
Yeah. And a lot of people may not know because it's not on the main road that place even exists. But I saw pictures of that this past couple of weeks. And, and it's on Pleasant Valley Road.
There's a lot of really neat stuff down there, and I encourage people to go by and take a look at that and look at what Roger's done down there. There's when you're there and you have an event, and we hold those events. We'll be doing one in October, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But when we hold events down there, sometimes it's hard to really get to see everything, and because there's people there and you're talking and and fellowshipping with one another. But take a time just to go down there by yourself and just with your family, go down there and look at it. And Roger's told me numerous times that it's open all the time, that anybody that would like to go by there and look at that's welcome anytime to go by there. They've got old aircraft down there, helicopters, Humvees. We've parked a couple of our Humvees from the sheriff's office down there from Vietnam era. They've got everything from World War I vehicles. Just all kind of neat stuff down there. Just go by and take a look at that, and I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
I didn't know it was there until you held your event there.
Right.
How was that in October?
In October, and we're going to be doing that again this October, and we got something special this October that we're doing. October 5th through the 9th, and I want to go ahead and start advertising this now. I know it's early, but we want to advertise it so people can get the word out and get there. We actually have the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall coming. Oh, yeah. And they are going to be there at the Band of Brothers Park there at October 5th through the 9th. And so we want to encourage everybody to come down and take part of that. I know that's a huge attraction, and a lot of people come from all over to see that. And so all the soldiers that had fallen during Vietnam conflict, they're going to have their name on that wall down there. It's a traveling wall. And so everyone's welcome to come and view that. And you can we're setting it up, and part of the wall process is that for people who are relatives and have loved ones that died in the war, they have ways to get up there and help them if they want to take a pencil and a paper and scribble rub the paper and get their name off the wall. There'll be people there to help them do that and help them get to the wall and all those kind of things. So it's a pretty big deal, and a lot of people like to come and view that when it's in the area. And we expect people from all over, from Franklin and Sylvan, North Georgia and East Tennessee, probably coming over to view that wall during that time period. So just remember that's going to be there October 5th through the 9th, and we'll keep advertising that as we go and get some more information out about that. So we just want to take this Memorial Day weekend, to be thinking about our veterans and thinking about the soldiers who have died. And a lot of times, and this is more for Veterans Day, not Memorial Day, but when you think about these times, there's a lot of people who come back from war that may not have lost their life. They may have made it home, but they've lost limbs, and they've lost different things mentally and emotionally. And so we just want to honor those people also, and thank you for the sacrifice that you've given for us, so that we can live in a land of freedom. And anybody that's out there listening that served in the military, I just want to tell you thank you, and thank you for what you've done for us.
We take so much for granted. We really do.
We do.
And it's amazing to think what this country would be without the sacrifices that they made.
And I know we don't live in a perfect country, and we have a lot of problems, a lot of things that are wrong, and a lot of things in this country is broken, and we recognize that. But if you've ever traveled to other countries, and you've ever, especially third world countries, and if you've ever been down in South America and Mexico and a lot of those places, and even overseas in Africa and Middle Eastern countries and those type of things, you realize how precious the land of the free is. And every time I hear people talking about how awful America is and how bad we are and really condemning America, I really want to just stick them on a plane and send them to some of these other places and let them see what it's like in other places.
A lot of that's because we've gotten spoiled.
We have.
We have so much to be thankful for, but we kind of look at the things that are wrong. But I'm part of the generation, I think, that grew up with remote controls.
Right.
I was telling somebody the other day, I think a 14-year-old that back in my day, we had to get up and turn the channel on the TV, and when we turned it, there was static on it.
And it's black and white. I remember when it's black and white. I don't know if you're old enough, but I'm still old enough to remember when we had black and white TVs.
I remember that as well. And these big old canisters, large TVs, then we had one sitting on top of it, old set, because it was furniture back then.
It was.
But I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning, the walk, the veterans, like we said, it starts at It had been promoted, I think, as starting at the Cherokee County Cycles, but they were waiting for the rest stop area to get finished the repairs, and I understand that to be finished now. So that location is going to be, we just want to clear that up, is going to be at the Andrews Rest area, which is right there at the, I think it's the Huddle House and BP station in Andrews off the 4-lane, and it's going to end at the River's Edge RV Park. And I met with Dustin Smith from the Murphy Police Department yesterday, and he was telling me about the parade route, because we're going to be doing Facebook Live feeds throughout the day. I'm going to lay out of work from here and go be a part of that. But we're going to try to do some. I'm going to hope. We were talking about the drone earlier. I'm hoping to get some nice aerial photos, and I can post on Facebook, and especially the part through downtown Murphy where there's not as much traffic. Maybe you could do a live feed from there. And you remember Joe Copeland?
I do.
He speaks highly of you, and
I'm glad.
he was so tickled about how Murphy made him feel, and the fact that we had breakfast and lunch together. He at 2:00 when I get off there today, I'm going to go get him, and I think he's in Chattanooga right now. Bring him back because he wanted to be a part of this walk. His walk across the country is to raise awareness about veteran suicide and PTSD, and tomorrow's walk is about veteran suicide to raise awareness.
It is.
So,
and for those that missed Joe's walk and don't really know about this walk tomorrow, the 22 comes from, there's an average of 22 military people commit suicide every day, 22 across the country. And so that's what these walks are about, is get awareness out so we can stop that, and that we don't have people who are suffering through PTSD and depression committing suicide and hurting themselves. And
it's great to be able just to talk about that, saying that other people are going through this too. And he has found so much support along the way, different veterans organizations. So I'm tickled to have him back here in Murphy. I've watched a few of his Facebook videos, and he keeps on talking about Murphy.
I was thinking the other day, I was noticing as he started his journey in walking, not many people followed, not many people knew about it, not many people knew what he was doing. But as he was starting to get into this region, then the following started picking up, and more news crews and newspapers and media outlets were picking up on what was happening. And as he got over into Chattanooga, I noticed that his Facebook pages were picking up with more and more people following. And I would be very anxious to see what it will be when he makes it to California. How many people will be following, and what kind of release he'll get then.
It's something that's kind of pulled at my heartstrings, you know, for me to get this personally involved in wanting to help. And I thought, how in the world can just someone walking raise awareness about a cause like that? And then I started reading his story and seeing what he's gone through. He said on his Facebook that, you know, it's something he's considered in the past. But it's just so exciting to be able to have him be a part of this.
It is.
Because he's been on Good Morning America. ABC News has done stories on him, and just to let him be a part of our awareness is just an honor for me myself. And I'm excited about tomorrow, and we encourage everybody who is listening, if they can be a part of this walk, even if they don't want to walk, if they want to stand on the streets and kind of cheer everybody on, that's fine too. And Dustin was saying you don't have to walk the whole walk. They're going to have a what's it called, a little transit bus that follows. So anybody, and there's going to be stations to stop and take a break at. So I'm excited about what's going on.
And I think it'll be good. I think it'll, like I say, continue to raise a lot of awareness and let people understand what's happening out there. And we talked about our country being broken. I think that's one of the pieces, one of the broken pieces we have in our country is taking care of our veterans upon return and what's going on with them. I know our military does the best they can in dealing with veterans and their issues. And I know you can't save everybody, you can't fix everybody. But I do understand that we could do a better job, I think, in supporting one another and just helping one another along the way. Changing gears a little bit, but along those lines, we had a drug awareness meeting and community meeting in Andrews this past week. And that was one of the issues that we had talked about there, about community involvement and getting involved in the drug situation and those things that's going on in our country and going on in our little towns and our county and our nation, is the fact of rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty and getting personally involved in people's lives. I think that we have kind of distanced ourselves from situations and from problems, and we don't want to get involved with things unless it just personally affects me. And if it don't personally affect me, it's not my problem. But I think as a community, we need to start investing in what we're seeing happening around us and get involved in people's lives. When we talk about drug issues and we talk about problems in Cherokee County, one of the things that I stress over and over again is the fact of that the drug problems is not a law enforcement problem. The drug problems is not a mental health problem. The drug problems is a community problem, and there's so many different facets and spokes to that wheel that involves everybody in the community. And law enforcement can be the best law enforcement in the world, but they're not going to fix the problem. And mental health can be the best mental health people in the world, but they're not going to fix the problem by themselves. And each one of these different components, when you get education and awareness and getting the school systems involved and getting transportation and transit involved and getting job fairs and job training involved, when you start getting physical health and getting doctors involved in the physical aspects of it, no one group can fix this problem by themselves. It takes everyone coming together. And then, of course, one of the big spokes that come in on top of that is the spiritual counsel and spiritual help, and coming from our churches and just lending a hand and spiritual counseling and meeting physical needs that are out there, whether it's hunger or whether it's not having clothes and not having coats in the wintertime, not having a roof over your head. There's so many different facets to this that we have to get involved in people's lives if we ever want to see a change and ever want to see things happen. One of the things that I said in the meeting Tuesday night that surprised me, because I figured I would get some static from it and I figured people would disagree, but a spontaneous round of applause broke out when I said it, was the fact of that when you look at what's going on with our people that's addicted and using drugs, there are some people that needs prison, that prison is the place for them, that they need to be locked up and out of society. They're not going to change. They're going to continue their habits. They're going to break into houses. They're going to do these things, and nothing we do is going to change that. There is that element. But the thing that we got to remember is that most people who are addicted are not bad people. They are people that's been through bad situations, bad circumstances, bad things have happened to them, made bad choices. And most of the people don't want that life. They want out of it, but they don't know how, and they don't have resources, and they don't have help to get out of that. And so that's what we're talking about, getting our hands dirty, is taking these people who want the help, who want to get clean, who want to make a change in their life, and lending a helping hand to our brother out there and our sister to help them get back on their feet and be productive members of society. When you talk about law enforcement and the sheriff's office, and not just the sheriff's office, but police departments and highway patrol and all the other law enforcement agencies that are out there, we have to acknowledge the fact that the user end of this, the ones that's addicted, that just simply arresting them and putting them in jail and putting them through a court process is not the answer. That's not the solution. That's a temporary fix. That's just getting someone out of somebody else's hair and getting them off the street for a day or two. But that's not fixing the problem. We're turning them loose, and it's the same thing all over again, and we're rearresting and going back through the same process. So we have to look at things different, and we have to approach this differently. And one of the things that we've done is I've contacted several people in the community, along with Jenny Irwin's help from the Drug Free Coalition, and have reached out to some community leaders. And on June 27th, we're going to sit down and have a roundtable discussion about some ideas to help the addicted community and what we can do to facilitate things and to make things happen that can be a practical reaching hand out to help these people and to help them make a change in their life and get back to society. I think, that's the responsibility not just of the sheriff, but I think it's the responsibility of everybody to reach out and to help. One of the illustrations I used, after I said it, I thought, I probably shouldn't have said that because people will take it wrong, but I'll say it again because it's just true. But how many times do we go to church and we listen to the preacher preach and we listen to good singing and we have a worship experience, and then we go out and we get in our cars in the parking lot and we drive to the Mexican restaurant or somewhere else to eat, and on the way there we pass tens of people, if not hundreds of people, who are hungry, who are not going to have a meal that day, has very limited meals if they have any. And we kind of put blinders on and we kind of go there and eat and we do our thing and then we leave and we go home, and not really giving thought of those that are around us and the thoughts of those out here that's suffering and hurting. And I don't think it's that we're bad people. I think it's that we've just conditioned ourselves to that.
We tune things out.
Right, just kind of tune it out, And so I think that when we go into these projects of trying to reach out to this community and help these people, I think that we've got to make a conscious choice that I know what I'm getting into. I know that I'm going to have to get my hands dirty. I know that there's going to be a group of these people that's going to take advantage of me. There's going to be a group of people that's going to take advantage of the situation. We're going to have to deal with that group of people. But let's focus on those that want the help. Let's focus on those who we can help. And so I think that we need to be realistic about things and understand that we can't help everybody out there. But there are some we can help. And like I've said before, if we could just take a quarter of our people that's addicted, if we take a quarter of those or a third of those and make a difference in their life to become productive citizens, man, what a difference that would make in Cherokee County. What a difference it would make to all the problems and issues and things that are going on in our county. So I'm real excited about this. I'm real anxious about this. The community leaders that we invited is from churches, from mental health profession, from school and education, from just different walks of life, just different people in the neighborhood, grant writers and different things. So I'm real excited about having this meeting and trying to put a plan in action to develop something that will help our county and help our people.
One of the things you mentioned is about the job situation. Here in Cherokee County, do we have enough jobs to... I know a lot of people, when they don't have jobs, they resort to things like drugs and alcohol. What's the job situation looking like here in Cherokee County?
I don't have actual figures there to give you numbers for that, but I will tell you that anybody who is looking for a job that can stay clean and remain clean and will work can find a job. I mean, there's jobs out there that's available. What I hear from employers, and not so much in my office because we don't get many people apply that can't pass a drug test. Most people know there's going to be a drug test in law enforcement, and so if they know they're going to be not going to pass it, they're not going to apply. But through other industry and through other people in the county that has job openings, what I hear repeatedly over and over and over again is two issues. One is I can't find people to pass a drug test. And if I've sent several people down, 10 people's come and applied for this job, and they're all failing the drug test and can't find anybody to pass it. And then the second issue is if we do find somebody to pass it and they pass the drug test and we put them to work, we're having trouble getting them to come back to work after they get their paycheck. They kind of get their paycheck and then they disappear for a day or two and you don't see them, and then they'll show back up later wanting to go back to work again. And so those are the kind of troubles that we're hearing from employers that's in the community. But I will tell you this, anybody who is really seriously seeking a job that wants a job may not get the job you want, may not get the salary you want, may not get the pay you want, but there are jobs out there that's available.
Right. Yeah. All right. So the community meeting is going to be...
We're going to hold that at the sheriff's office. This next meeting that we're going to do on the 27th is going to kind of just be a closed meeting with just some leaders.
Okay.
Just try to get some ideas together.
That's tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, June 27th.
June 27th. Okay, a month from tomorrow.
Yeah, a month from tomorrow. And we're going to try to just take some community leaders and just give some visions and some ideas and say, okay, this is optimal. This is what we would like to see. Now, how do we facilitate that? How do we make it happen? And so once we kind of get an idea down and a plan down and get our community leaders on board with that and get some ideas on how to facilitate it and make it happen, then it'll be time to reach out into the public for volunteers and for people who's willing to come in and help. And it's going to, in order for this to work, like I said before, it's going to take churches getting involved. It's going to take our business leaders getting involved. It's going to take our mental health professionals getting involved. It's going to take our medical health professionals. It's going to take law enforcement. It's going to take the judicial system. It's going to take everybody having to get involved in this to make it successful and make it work. But we're real excited about it, and we're real anxious because there are people everywhere. And at the town meeting at Andrews the other night, there were lots of people signed up on a sign-up sheet saying, call me. I'll be willing to get my hands dirty and be willing to help. So, and people from different walks of life and avenues of life. So, one of the things that we'll be looking for, of course, from the community perspective, is those that are business leaders that would be willing to take a chance on somebody and take a chance on giving them a job once they meet certain criteria and can go to work. Obviously, we can't be letting people come into certain jobs and certain situations who are currently addicted and are not doing the things that they should do. But we do need employers that will be willing to lend a hand out there and say, you may not be exactly where you need to be, but I will give you a chance, and I will let you work and give you a paycheck if you'll work. And so those are the kind of things that we're looking for to help people get on their feet.
Some people just need to be occupied with things to do,
right,
to eliminate a lot of boredom.
They do. I think I've shared this before. I'm not sure, but when last year when the campground was opening back up and we used some of our inmate labor to go down and get that campground cleaned up and get some trees cut and weed eating and mowing and those things to get the campground back in order for it to be operational. Our trustee group from the sheriff's office, the inmates that are trustees, they worked hard. I mean, they went wide open every day for a week and done a lot of soil work and weed eating work and mowing, and they had that place looking good, and they were so proud of what they've accomplished and what they did down there. And myself and Captain Patterson went down at that last day, and we took some hamburgers down and we grilled it for them, and we had just like fixed their lunch for them. And once we fixed it, we sat down there and just ate with them at the table and just kind of talked to them a little bit about what's going on. And one of the things I shared with those guys was the fact of, look at what you've done, look at what you've accomplished. And, when you get out of jail and you go out into society, you could take that group of 5 guys or 7 guys or however many it was. You could take that group of people, and if you stay clean and sober, you could open your own business and do this for a living, and make good money at it and make a good living at that. But it takes being clean and sober, and it takes having a good mind about you. And, the things I shared with them is you could do this for a living, or you can continue your actions and continue doing what you're doing and come down here and get put in jail and do it for me for free,
Right.
So whichever way you want to do that. But I think it's important to give people a job and a task and keep them occupied and keep them what they're doing.
And they'd much rather sit there and do that than stay in a jail cell,
right,
correct?
Right. We have many people that would rather be out there doing that. Unfortunately, there's criteria that has to be met. There has to be judicial recommendations and all kind of different things, and not just anybody that wants to be on a work crew can be on one. So there's certain things that have to be met for that to happen. But what I have found is these guys, when they're clean and sober and they're out here working, they work very hard. They're very dedicated to what they do. They're very proud of what they do. And when they see that job accomplished, they see that trash that's picked up, or they see that mowing event that was done, or the wood gathering and busting wood for winter for the elderly, at the end of the day when they're done, they're proud of what they've done and they're proud of their accomplishment. And so as we look back on that and helping these people get back on their feet, that's the reason we need to reach out to these business people and the ones that's willing to take a chance on them, to give them that self-worth back, to give them pride about themselves, to encourage them to be clean, to encourage them to keep striving and take another step and do one more clean day, And I think the more we can get them to look at one more clean day and one more clean day, then before you know it, we've had a clean year, And then before you know it, we've had a clean decade, And I think that if we can just, like I say, invest in people's lives and keep them motivated and keep them going, then I think we can make a difference in a lot of people's lives out there.
We invest in education. We invest in so many things to help better people. Just investing in people is, I think, going to help. I'm so excited to hear this is coming about, and I can't wait to see what results come from that.
I'm like I say, I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about.
And it's not easy, is it?
No, it isn't. And that's one of the things we talked about. That this is going to take dedication. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take some tears. It's going to take some failures. It's going to. There's going to be some things that's going to succeed, and there's going to be some things that's going to fail. And so we have to recognize that before we ever start, but not get discouraged and quit, but just keep pressing forward with it.
one failure in a system is not going to be the end of that system. Yeah. So, our community is in need of this kind of help, and I'm glad to see this effort underway.
Right. Now, I think it'll be good. I think we'll accomplish a lot by the time it's over with.
All right. I'm going to read this real quick. Frank Rose of Townsend Rose Funeral Home reminds all that local veterans have placed flags on the graves of their deceased comrades at the Green Lawn Cemetery in Peachtree, and you are invited to drive through any time now through Tuesday to see these flags. It is beautiful. I've been there several years and gotten some photos. You may go anytime during the day or night, and please honor these and all deceased veterans this Memorial Day. And again, that's going to be at Green Lawn Cemetery in Peachtree. So we'll be reminding people about that.
And there'll be a lot of events going on this weekend in different places. And typically also when you have these weekends, it's holidays, you'll see heavy traffic flows and those type of things. So even when you're not at the lake, when you're just traveling back and forth to the store, out on the road, just be careful, kind of watch for others and watch what you're doing. And we just hope that everybody has a safe weekend.
And I believe the memorial service on the town square at the Veterans Monuments is going to be Monday at 11 a.m.
I think so.
And I'm going to do my best to be there with my camera to do a Facebook Live for that. Jerry Winston is going to be speaking. She's on the show with Leo Phillips each Saturday at 11:11, and she is so articulate.
She is.
She has. I told her yesterday when I talked, I said, "You have such a nice, calming, soothing voice."
Yeah.
She goes, "So you mean I could put you to sleep?" I said, "You probably could." Right. But she's going to be the speaker, one of the speakers there on Monday, and we plan on doing a Facebook Live video feed of that for those who can't be in attendance. We realize a lot of people can't get out and be there, but if you can be there, we'd love to see you.
Right. Well, I plan on being there myself, and so
you're not camera shy, are you?
No, not really.
And thank you so much for this tour of the 911 Center.
That was great. I had a lot of good response from that.
We've had tons of good feedback from that, and the comments that I got mainly were, "That's a lot more high tech than I thought it was."
Right.
So a lot of people didn't realize what went on inside 911. So I want to continue doing these kind of things to show off our community.
Yeah, there was a lot of work and effort put into that and into that center, and just visiting other centers and looking and seeing what they have and what's available out there technology wise, and what we could implement here and what would work here and what wouldn't. And yeah, there were several years put into that before they ever started working on it and getting the money appropriated for it and all that. So there's a lot of people involved, from Teresa Kreisman, the director, to Janice Costello, who was the director before, to finance from the county, from county manager, and of course from the sheriff's office itself. And there was just a lot of input put in from a lot of different people on that. So we want to thank everybody for making that a success. It's very high tech, and like I say, it's no doubt probably the most high tech dispatch center in Western North Carolina and probably in the whole state.
And that center is so important. Whenever someone has an emergency, they call 911, so they're their first point in contact.
It is.
So having all this fast, efficient technology can save someone's life in a crisis. And I'm so glad we have the old dispatch center still operational as a backup.
Right.
Can't tell you how much that means, having a backup.
Yeah.
Communications could go down at one center and the other center still operational. And like you said, during the eclipse, both of them are going to be used.
Both are going to be working.
Because we're going to have a ton of people in this expected to have a ton of people in this area. And that we were talking on the Facebook Live video that that's going to put a strain on a lot of our infrastructure, like not just roads, but cell towers.
Right.
We may not have enough. That's not something that you can just bring in a temporary cell tower. And I know they did that with tornadoes up or the fires up in Pigeon Forge. They brought in a temporary cell tower, but that's something that is probably not cost
for an
efficient.
event like this. It's not going to happen. You're looking at. I hate to put it this way, but it's true, because we know traffic's going to come in about a week ahead of time and just increasingly get worse. But from that point of view, from the cell tower state point of view, you're looking at a one-day event or a 2.5-minute event. That's the way some people look at it. So they're probably not going to expend those expenses and resources to bring something like a cell tower in. But we are trying to make ways for other things, other communications, and other things to happen. So we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
We may have nobody here, or it may be so bad you can't turn around. We just don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people depend on the cell towers. They don't have landlines anymore.
Right.
And that's their only way of getting internet for a lot of people. So they're on their Facebook getting messages from us, from you, and everybody. So during that one day, they may notice some outages because those towers can only handle so much traffic. And so just people be prepared. Try to find your own personal backup plans.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we may have some interruptions.
Like I say, I will say this many times between now and August, but I really encourage people, for our local people who live here, just if you don't have to get out, just stay home.
Yeah.
View it from your house.
Just look up.
Yeah.
With the glasses.
With your glasses. I know there's going to be festivals and different things happening that people may want to get out and take part in. You've got business people that would like to capitalize off the crowds, and that's fine. We understand that. But if you don't have a necessity to be out and you're not taking part in these events and things, we encourage as many people as we can just staff the roads, especially for that Monday, the 21st. And
from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, from a safety, because we are going to have so many people here, probably more than likely, that we're going to have difficulty from emergency services getting from point A to point B. And we've made some protocols for that. We made some arrangements to where we can be in every neighborhood and be in every community, or at least nearby, when things happen, so that we don't have to travel from one end of the county to the other. So we've prepared for that, and hopefully our preparations are good enough. But we have spent many long days and nights preparing for this. And Robin Caldwell, of course, she's worked nonstop for probably, I'd say, close to 6 months on this.
It's a lot of undertaking, and August 21st is the day that we're expecting the biggest influx, and that's not the day to go grocery shopping, fill up your gas tanks. Be prepared.
Yeah, do that ahead of time.
Yeah, there's a couple of weeks ahead of time you can fill up your tanks, but when there's so much traffic through here, our store shelves may be empty.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen. So
and one thing too, and so people understand this, I know we're probably running over again, but one of the things that we need to understand is there will be an eclipse event for the whole Southeast.
Right.
I mean, if you're in Atlanta, you're hundreds of miles away from the totality, but you're still going to get a 96 to 97% eclipse.
Right.
So there's going